Okay, so what do you do when you are in a pretty good place with your isometric sketching? There's a couple of things. First thing you can do is go on the internet and find pages like this. These sort of pages, go onto Pinterest, Behance, Google, anywhere, and type in isometric sketching and you'll find this. It is on isometric paper. It doesn't really matter. Okay, this is a very good guide for you to be able to count things and test yourself. Choose the really hard designs. This is quite a hard one here. This is complex. If you're very, very confident, work out where you've gone wrong. Understand that the proportions will be quite important for these because they're so accurate. Pick a number and have a little go. Just remember, obviously, you've still got your vertical lines. You started with a nice box. You've still got your lines going off to the right, okay, for your isometric, and you've still got your lines going off to the left with the blue. Okay, they are all going to be parallel to each other for that initial part. Think about the radius with your ellipses, so that's technically got a box around it before you draw your ellipses, and think about the orientation with how things are, so proportions. So that's really a good way to test yourself. Another thing you can do is you can find products. Okay, so here I've got this pencil sharpener. Pretty complex when you look at it, but if you start breaking it down, it's not actually too bad. So actually, let's have a little go with it. We can just start in terms of proportions. If we look at it a little bit wider than it is taller, probably, I don't know, 4x3, should we imagine? So this base part, if we were to go along there, then up, that's probably about right in proportion. And then if we look back, it's probably double the length that it goes back as it is wide. So in terms of drawing my initial shape, maybe something like that. In terms of this being isometric, hopefully you can see how I've got that initial shape. From there, we know this circle on the front is offset. It's not right up to the edge, so we can kind of draw it. It goes past the halfway point and then down like this. We've got these curves on the side, so they don't start at the very end. They start kind of part of the way along, you can see. So I've drawn those lines in there, and I'm going to draw across the top to make sure on the other side I know where that curve starts. I could even draw that curve in now if I wanted to on the top. So you could be really accurate and get a big circle going, but for the point of this demonstration, we've got those 2 points there like so. It then has it on the bottom as well. You can see here, obviously it cuts all the way through, so we've got our curves on the side. We've then got this point on the top. We've gone wrong. I'm rushing. Technically, it's at an angle, isn't it? So this end point probably only goes up to about there. So my curves are completely wrong on the top. We should have that sort of angle. Ignore those curves. They're rubbish. What you need to think about with those curves is going up to that point there and up to that point there, and then across. We've also got it going across at the back. And then where that meets is our angle. The curve needs to be on this angle here. This one goes across the other side. This point goes across the other side there. And then we've got this curve here, like this. So that curve from there, that's now a little bit better. From there, we can think about this circle on the top part. So that circle, where does it need to be? Probably about halfway along. So we know that halfway is maybe about there with where our part is. So we can draw a little box, all in proportion. Make sure we're going to be parallel to this point because of how it sticks up now. So our entities have changed a little bit. We can then draw perpendicular to that part. It shouldn't be vertical. It should be going off at a slight angle. The reason for that is because if we imagine how this is set, it's got an angle here. Okay, so that angle is going to be going up there, which will look odd for our isometric, but it is correct. And then we can draw a small ellipse on top for the dome and a larger little bit on the bottom. And then we can connect those. We've then got this kind of like screw on top. We could add in the details for the blade. So the blade comes very, very close to this edge part. Again, parallel to this angled line that we've got. I'm running out of space here. I haven't done this very well with the part. And then over to the other side, we've got a curve. Then that's going to be going down the back there. Definitely not got enough space, but you can kind of see where we're going with this. Like so. Got that blade there. And then once you are confident, you can start building into your pencil sharpener to make the eye understand what's going on. We need our ellipse on the front here. So we've got our long axes, we've got our short axes, we've got our vertical, and got our horizontal. Our ellipse is going to go somewhere like that. And then again, you can tidy that up. And then we can sketch into these lines here, sketch across the top. Got that curve going back that we lose. Got the blade section. Curve starts about there. Got this part. And there we go. With that curve, you can add the texture if we wanted to. Do it very quickly, just adding some lines. This section, that section with the blade. And there is a very quick and not very accurate pencil sharpener. But hopefully you can see by going through sketching real life products, it makes you think about different angles. Okay, so I completely forgot about this angle on the side, just drew straight across the top, which was obviously wrong, but it can help you to understand this ellipse and how that's working and looking at that in a bit more detail. It's also going to help you to understand texture, so you can start adding these little dots on top if you wanted to, by adding some texture, making sure you're going along in the right directions, shadows, highlights on different materials. There's lots of things that sketching from real life examples will be really, really helpful with. Okay, so test yourself with real life products and sketches from online. Try and keep it isometric, try and keep it as accurate as you can. Make sure, as always, your isometric principles are there. So your vertical lines, your lines that go off to the right with your green lines need to be going off like so. And obviously your blue lines as well. This one, not this one because that's an angle. That was our initial blue line. Like that, okay? And then everything else we parallel to whatever it needs to be, unless you've got angles, in which case they need to be parallel to the same angle. Hopefully that helps. Have a little go, sketch as many real life products as you can.